Hi there, I'm Kate McClellan, and I've been a professional wedding planner for over 20 years now. I started Planning Collective when I noticed that though most couples are super excited about getting engaged, they quickly feel overwhelmed and intimidated by the actual process of planning their weddings. If left unchecked, this can lead to massive burnout and the urge to scrap all your plans and just elope. While this is totally normal, you don't have to sacrifice your sanity for your dream wedding. In the Wedding Planning Collective podcast, I'm going to share the processes, tips, and tools that all engaged couples like you need to feel confident, supported, and excited about your wedding plans again. Let's get started. Hey there, before we get to the episode, I have a quick question for you. Have you been unsuccessfully trying to shake that feeling that you're forgetting something when it comes to your wedding? You've got the Knot app and you've downloaded countless other planning checklists, but you just can't get rid of that sneaking suspicion that there's something you don't know yet. It's a very common feeling when it comes to wedding planning. So much so that I decided to put together a free resource to help get rid of what I call FOWO, the fear of wedding oversight. Yes, it does include that 12-month task checklist, but that's just the start. In addition to the ultimate wedding planning checklist, my new Don't Forget list also includes a wedding vendor checklist, your shopping list, a packing list for the wedding weekend, and a complete wedding item setup list to make sure that you are truly not forgetting anything when it comes to your wedding. And you heard me right, this list is free for you to grab right now. Just head over to planningcollective.com/forgetting and it's all yours. That's planningcollective.com/FORGETTING and let's get rid of that FOWO together. All right, let's get on to the episode. Hey guys, Kate here. Welcome back to another episode of the Wedding Planning Collective podcast. For today's episode, I want to talk about one of the most stressful times on the wedding day, and that is family photos. Now, don't get me wrong, I love seeing all the different generations coming together in one place. Everyone's all dressed up and looking gorgeous. You can't not take your family photos, right? However, I have also seen the look on many brides and grooms' faces during these family photo sessions, so I know that it can be one of the most taxing moments of the day. The ceremony is over and you're just ready to get to the party. It can literally feel like herding cats trying to get through this big, long list of photos. But don't worry, I'm going to share some easy ways that you can make things more enjoyable or at least less frustrating on your wedding day. So let's get into the different ways to make your family photos on your wedding day as least painful as possible. The biggest piece of advice I can offer on this is to be prepared. Not giving enough thought to this part of the day can really lead to confusion and chaos. So let's get into the what and how of family photos. First up, you need to consider the timing and location for these family photos. Most commonly, they take place immediately after the ceremony is over in the same location as the ceremony. There's a really good reason for that. You have everyone all together in the same place. They aren't distracted by the bar or dancing yet, and hair and makeup is still looking fresh. A couple times a year, I'll have couples that are tempted to do family photos well before the ceremony or maybe at an off-site location. And I will say, if you have a relatively small family list, meaning like just parents and grandparents and siblings that are also a part of the wedding party, this could work for you. But in most cases, the family photo list is going to extend into aunts and uncles and cousins, and planning them earlier in the day or at another location can really be a dangerous game when it comes to your timeline. The more people and variables you add into the mix, the higher the potential that things will run off plan. If Aunt Sally is running late for these photos and she's giving grandma a ride, it will have a domino effect on the rest of your timeline from that point on. However, no matter how late Aunt Sally and grandma are running, they will be sat in that front row ready for the photos after the ceremony anyway, along with all the other cousins and siblings and aunts and uncles and significant others that you may need. So I do get the appeal of wanting to have these photos done and over with so you can get right to the party after the ceremony, but really consider your group and how timely everyone is while you're working through that plan. Next, you want to really plan ahead by creating a detailed list of all of the combinations of family photos that you want. And of course, share this list with your photographer before the wedding day. Your photographer will likely have something for you to fill out to help create this list, but you can find my version over at planningcollective.com/family hyphen photos. Most photographers I've worked with prefer to start with like the largest group photo first and then work their way down to the smaller groupings. So, for each sides of your families, take a look at your guest list and make a big brain dump list of everyone that you'll need to be in this largest group photo. From there, you can break the group photo down into the smaller combinations that you know you'll want. For example, after you're done with the large group photo, you can likely excuse aunts and uncles and cousins and ask grandparents and immediate family to stay for a smaller group photo. After that, grandparents can take a seat and you can get a photo with you and your immediate family, then just your parents, then just your siblings, and so on based on your combination. Now, of course, your breakdown of photos will be very specific to you and your family, but you can get the outline over at planningcollective.com/family hyphen photos to get you started. Now, while you're putting this list together, make sure that you are taking specific family dynamics into consideration. Weddings are often the first time people are seeing each other after a long amount of time, which is wonderful. However, divorces or separations can make this very awkward. So make sure that you're telling your photographer of any potential issues, especially if it's within your immediate family. Most people can be civil and get along for one day and they won't make a big deal out of it. However, you know your family, and if your parents, for example, haven't been in the same room with each other in decades, it might not be a good idea to try and attempt to get a photo of all of you together. So, again, be realistic and give your photographer a heads up. So, if they can see that there's something happening, they're not going to try and force any photos together. Regarding how long these family photos will take, this will obviously be based on the number of people and groupings that you have for these family photos. It'll also be based on the variables of the venue and how your photographer works. So give this list to your photographer in advance, and then they can let you know how much time you're going to need for this group of family photos. Now, having this list prepared is great and fantastic, but it's not going to be much help if the people in the photos don't know that they need to be in the photos. So make sure that you're giving your family a heads up as well. About a week before the wedding, I recommend that you send out either a group text or email to everybody that you're going to want to stick around for these photos so that they know where they're expected to be. This is especially important if the ceremony is at a different location from the rest of the wedding, as you don't want people getting in their cars and heading out before you start the photo process. In addition to letting family members know when these photos will take place, I highly recommend that you designate a family member from each side of the family to help manage the photo list for you. Even though your planner and your photographers will have these lists, we don't know who we're looking for with this list of names. So having an aunt or a cousin who knows who these people are will really help speed up the process quite a bit. There's almost always somebody that's asking for something that they can do to help you with the wedding. So this is a perfect task for them. And finally, for those with a long list of groupings or maybe particularly short on time, make sure that you note which photos are a priority for you and which ones you can skip if needed. For example, it might be great to get individual photos with you and your cousins or your sorority sisters at the ceremony, but they likely aren't going to get priority over a shot with you and your grandparents at the church. By noting your priority photos to your photographer, they can make judgment calls based on the time by knowing what your main focus is for those areas. The cousin or sorority sister photos can happen later on at the reception, while grandparents are probably not going to stick around that late. Plus, they probably much more appreciate the formal photo at the church than your cousins. All right, there you have it. My tips for successful family photo sessions on your wedding day. Again, make sure you grab that worksheet over at planningcollective.com and head over to the Wedding Planning Collective Facebook group and let me know what you think. And if you found this episode helpful, I would love it if you could take a quick second to rate and review. It would mean the world to me, and it will help other couples get the wedding planning help they need. Thank you so much, and I will see you in the next episode.